Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and today is going to be a tatting tutorial, and it is of some spider earrings, and you will be using a couple of seed beads and a elongated bead, both of which I actually purchased at Walmart quite some time ago, but this is what they look like on. They're kind of dangly. So there you are. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Hi everyone, it's me, Spring, the fiber enthusiast, and welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be making a spider tatted earring. And I've got one on a blocking board now. I'll give you a little peek at it. So some of the items that you'll need is an earring wire, some regular little beads that will go over the top of your needle and thread, some needles to block it out to go ahead and starch it so that way it stays the way that you make it, and a larger oblong or even round, it's up to you, bead that goes in the center here. Now I'll measure the bead in the center. I picked a set of beads up from Walmart a while back, and this one is roughly 3/4 of an inch long. And as far as width, it's approximately just slightly over 1/2 of an inch wide, as far as the bead in the center. Now, this is optional. You can do just a circle if you don't have this center bead, but for this is what I used. I used 2 orange little beads, and I'll show you those here. So just a little itty bitty bead. And as I said, they need to be able to go over your tatting needle and over the thread at the end. So all the way down. Now the eye of your tatting needle will be the same size as the shaft of the needle. So it just needs to be big enough to go over the thread that goes through the eye of the needle. So you'll need 2 of those. That's for the eyes, and then the body, a larger oval bead, which mine looks like this. And it's designed on both sides. And an earring wire of choice. Needle threader, even a large needle threader like this, or bead needle. I use this at the point where we bring the thread through the larger bead. And you will also need some number 10 thread, as well as a number 5 tatting needle. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this, and I start with the body of the spider. The legs are last, so we work the body of the spider, the head of the spider, then we add the legs to it. So all you're going to do is get your thread onto your needle. And it doesn't take much of a tail to make the body and the head. About, I would say 6 to 8 inches of tail. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and get started by placing the thread on the back of the needle and creating this arch that's going to go around one side of the bead itself. So I'm going to start with 5 double stitches. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now I'm going to create a really small picot. And this is just so that way we can attach our spider legs. So here is the first little itty bitty picot, and it's going to be followed with 5 double stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And as I said, it is just a really, really tiny picot. We're going to do that one more time, a really small picot and 5 double stitches. This will be 1/2 of the bead. Okay, so now I have the first half done. Now I'm going to pull my needle and thread mostly through. And what I'm going to do is grab the bottom of that arch there, the bottom of those stitches with this loop here at the bottom. And if you have a small enough hook, crochet hook, to run through the eye of the bead, you can use that as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I might have one that'll work. I do. So you can take it like this on your really tiny crochet hook and hook your little loop that we left behind and slide that bead up onto that loop like such. And now we're going to take the tip of our tatting needle and run it through that loop. And now all you're going to do is slowly adjust it to where that loop goes down to the top of the bead and pull your little arch there that you did to that loop. Now I'm just going to place a knot there just to hold everything in place. You do not have to. It is not necessary. If you're a very seasoned tatter, you do not have to put that knot there. Now I'm going to go ahead and repeat what I just did. 5 double stitches, picot, 5 double stitches, picot, 5 double stitches. So there's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Do a little picot. 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5. I'm going to create another picot. 3, 4, and 5 double stitches to complete. So now we're going to pull our needle and tail thread all the way through, creating the arch that's going to wrap around the other side of this bead, which is the body. And now I'm going to find that little loop down here at the bottom of the bead and pull my needle through that loop. Just like that. So that way it meets up with the first side that we did. So just like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and place a knot. I just turn my work like turning the page of a book, and it creates this teardrop at the top. And pull your needle and tail thread through that teardrop, creating just a little knot. Now we're going to create the head part with the eyes. This is where these other beads, seed beads, come into play. So we're going to place our needle over the top of that knot and put 4 double stitches on the needle. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm going to take my first bead and slip it down onto the needle. Now working past the bead, I'm going to place 3 more double stitches. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to create a small picot, and that small picot is just for the ear wire. So just a tiny picot there. And do 3 more double stitches. That's 2 and 3. Now I'm going to take the second bead, the second eye, and place that on the needle. And now working past that bead, I'm going to add 4 more double stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now this is going to be forming a ring, so we're going to pull our needle and tail thread almost all the way through, leaving just a little loop to run our needle through. Okay, once you have your tail thread through, you have this little loop here that you saved. You reserved it for pulling your needle and tail thread through. And now we're just going to cinch this down to form a ring. All right, once you have your ring formed, it's kind of difficult here. Let me get it situated. So that's what it looks like, 2 little beady eyes, and then this little itty bitty picot up here at the very top to put your ear wire in. So at this point, we're just going to place a knot and sew in our tail ends here. So I'm just going to do just a small knot. And now the way that I sew them in is whichever direction the tail thread is going naturally, I will insert it into those double stitches and pull it through. Sometimes it takes a little bit of doing, and usually I use a magnifying lamp for this. So we pull that all the way into those stitches. I'm going to cut away the excess here. Make sure you don't cut your work. Okay. And now I'll just shift those double stitches to hide that little piece there. Like such. Now I'm going to do the same thing with this side, which is our working thread, and I'm going to weave it down into this side of the body here. So to save on excess waste of thread, I go ahead and insert my needle into those stitches. All the way down here to the eye. I'll cut away from my working thread, insert my needle threader into the eye, place that little bit of thread there into it and pull it through, and now pull it through the body of the spider there. Now I'm going to go ahead and cut away from this little itty bitty bit here. Adjust the stitches so it hides that tail down in there. And now for the legs. The legs are really, really simple. Once again, you're going to lace your needle. And this takes very little tail at all. Once you have your needle laced, you're going to bring it up through one of your picots on the body. And you will do this twice for every picot. You're going to place your needle over that picot, and we're going to do a half of a double stitch, and the same half every time. So here's the first stitch, and I'm going to do it again. We're just creating half hitches around the needle. And you're going to continue to do this until the leg is to your desired length. Just continue to create these little half hitches like such. Once you have it to the desired length that you want, you're going to pull your tail thread all the way through and snug it up on that picot. Now what I do is I place a knot at the very end here. And cut away the excess, with the exception of maybe 1/4 of an inch at this point. So this is what it looks like at this present moment. Now you'll do that again in the same picot, and then you'll put 2 in the next one, and then 2 in the next one on the other side, and 2 in the last one on the other side. Once you have that done, you can add your ear wire to the picot at the top of the head, place it on your blocking board with your needles, and soak it in your liquid starch and allow it to dry. Once it has dried, you are good to cut away from your little 1/4 of an inch tails that you left, and it'll be ready to wear. All right, everyone, I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. Be blessed, be a blessing, and until next time, bye for now.